Hey everybody, welcome to the orientation video for the staff for Conquerors Camp 2015. So excited to have you on the team and so grateful to have you participating in what I think is going to be an incredible camp for the Florida District and for its students. We're doing this video and sending it to you ahead of time just to cut down on the amount of time we spend in worker orientation. With us moving camp to Mondays, we have the additional difficulty of trying to run a camper orientation, worker orientation, and give the music team an opportunity to be able to get into the tabernacle, set up, go through sound checks and all those kind of things. So the least amount of time we can spend in worker orientation, the better. As a result, I'm sending this to you ahead of time. I'm hoping to keep the worker orientation down to 30 minutes or less, have a chance for question and answers, things like that. But obviously at the end of this video, you're welcome to send me any questions you have ahead of time. This isn't going to be the most professional video you've ever seen in your life. We're just trying to kind of give you something that you can see and that you can process ahead of time. So having said that, again, welcome to camp, and we're excited to have you a part of it. I do want to take an opportunity to introduce you to the staff for Conquerors Camp 2015, to the authority figures that you'll see at that camp. First of all, we are so thankful to have Brother Phil Locke and Sister Taylor Locke serving as our district youth presidents. Just incredible people, phenomenal passion for the Florida district and for its students, just hard workers, just doing their best to exude excellence with everything they do for the Florida District Youth Department, and I feel really blessed and honored to serve with them. Also, Brother Aaron and Sister Crystal Meehan, our Florida District Youth Secretaries, thankful to serve with them. Incredible people, talented, passionate about the kingdom of God. Unfortunately, I think they're only going to be able to be with us for a couple of days, but we certainly look forward to seeing them. My name is Michael Guerra, and I'm the Section 3 Youth Director. I will be one of the camp managers alongside Brother Joel Alexander, and who is our Section 4 Youth Director, and I'm just going to kind of be there to assist him in any way that I can. He's a phenomenal camp manager. He's lives in Ocala, spends a lot of time on the campgrounds. One of the hardest working people I know. Really look up to him and his wife Jessica, and just thoroughly impressed with their lives, and I know you will be too. So looking forward to great things there. Brother Donnie Ellis and his wife will be serving as our recreation directors. Brother Donnie Curry will be serving as the kitchen staff lead, and Sister Amber Bledsoe will be serving as our music director. We're thankful to have Pastor Brandon Childress from St. Augustine, Florida, as our day speaker, and our Project 7 director, National Project 7 director, Brother Jonathan Nazarian, serving as the evening speaker. And you're going to be greatly blessed by their ministries, as will the students. So we're looking forward to incredible times in the house of the Lord, to lives being changed, and I believe I'm going to leave differently than I came, and hopefully you're expecting the same. So I want to start out by kind of getting into some of the rules that we have for the students, and a background on our expectations for them. And you probably have seen this before, and certainly you can go online and review these details at flupciyouth.com. If I forget to include it in the email for some reason, make sure you go and check that out. First of all, camp registration is on Monday, and it is from 9 a.m. to noon. Now notice that's not all day. That's not any time they want to show up. It's 9 a.m. to noon. And I would stress for you, it's 9 a.m. to noon as well. So we need all the staff there on time in order to efficiently run the camp. If for some reason you can't be there in that 9 a.m. to noon window, please let me know ahead of time so that we can be prepared for that, or let Brother Alexander know so that we can be prepared for that. It's very important. Additionally, checkout is on Friday, and as always, that's going to be from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. And again, we really need all hands on deck during that window as much as possible, because we do have even on that day we have cleaning that has to be done, and we have to keep supervision over the campers. If there is a reason that you have to leave outside of that window, let me know. But we really need as much of you as possible to be there from that 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. window. Please try to be committed to that. Campers are required to bring their own clothing, bedding, towels, hygiene products, and so forth. So they should have those things. If you want to bring extra hygiene products just in case for the ladies, or even maybe extra deodorant for the guys, glory, hallelujah, bless the Lord. You're welcome to do so, but it's not required. You certainly don't have to do that. As far as the dress codes go, please make sure you review the dress codes for the girls and the guys. For the girls, I trust the worker staff we have in place. Most of you have worked camps before, and so I'm going to kind of look to you to help us with the ladies and any judgment calls that need to be made on whether or not they need to change. Please let's make sure we do err on the side of mercy. We got to understand we are not these students' pastors, and so we got to be very careful which hills we choose to die on. I'm not saying that I'm against addressing issues. If issues arise, we will address them. We will not be afraid to address them. But if you have not worked a youth camp in a while, or this is your first youth camp, I would really strongly recommend that you lean on the wisdom of Sister Tamara Johnson, who will be leading the ladies' dorms, or those who have worked camps in the past. Take your cues from them. Make sure you talk to them before you address an issue with a ladies' dress. Some of the things I've noticed over the years that I would recommend having a discussion with the ladies about at some point is making sure they sit like a lady in the church services. I think you can imagine sitting on the platform, the difficulty that can cause. Also, making sure that they understand that they need to carry themselves appropriately in the altar and be mindful of people around them and how they're positioned at the altar. If you could discuss that with the ladies, those of you ladies workers, I would encourage you to do so. On the gentleman's side, the biggest issue we have with the guys is they want to run back and forth to the showers indecently. When they go back and forth to the showers, they need to have a shirt on with sleeves and pants. No shorts, no sleeveless shirts, no wrapped up in a towel, none of that. They need to be fully dressed to and from the showers. That's very important. Make sure you emphasize that to them, and if you have to, take disciplinary measures to ensure that that's taking place, because they could potentially be exposing themselves to young ladies in the camp, and that's not appropriate. The conduct code, if there's theft or malicious damage done to the property, you may feel like you've handled it, but it still needs to be escalated to the district youth team. We have to be aware of that because there are insurance ramifications. That's very important. Given that this is 15, 16-year-old camp, you may have some 16-year-olds who drive themselves to camp. If that's the case, once they have unloaded their stuff, they need to take their vehicle and park it in front of the big tabernacle in one of the parking spaces there. If it's a handicapped space, that's okay. Their car's not going to get towed, but they need to park it up there, and then they need to turn in their keys. Their keys will be tagged, and we will maintain possession of their keys until the end of camp. And the reasoning for that is obvious. We don't need young people in and out of their cars, or potentially in their cars with other people. Leaving the campgrounds. If they leave the campgrounds, they're done. They cannot return. They're no longer a camper once they've left those campgrounds. So those are all things we need to keep in mind. Mobile phones and other devices. We know the dangers that cell phones can cause. So we need to make sure they're only reviewing appropriate material and that they're only reviewing it at appropriate times. And again, use your judgment. Okay, if they're watching silly YouTube videos, maybe a warning is sufficient. Maybe we don't need to confiscate their phone and make a big issue out of it, depending on the content. So use your best judgment. But of course, if they're viewing, and really anymore, this is guys and gals, if they're viewing inappropriate material or pornography or things of this nature, it may be wise to confiscate their phone and alert the district youth team. Additionally, phone videography and selfies and things that young people are fascinated with, that cannot take place in the bathrooms. That is a big no-no, and we also have to be careful that inappropriate pictures and videos are not taken in the dorms. If we find that that is happening, the phones must be confiscated, and it must be discussed with the district youth team, myself or Brother Joel Alexander, so that we can address it appropriately. If students are found with weapons, smoke bombs, fireworks, non-prescribed medications, those kind of things, make sure that's brought to the attention of the district youth team. There should not be any physical interaction between the sexes. If a guy's giving a girl a side hug, okay, use your best judgment. I don't like it. You may not like it. But again, let's be careful. The hills we choose to die on. Let's err on the side of mercy with some of those things. If it's a hug that obviously has intentions beyond just a side hug, that may warrant addressing. We don't need holding hands. Guys should not be laying hands on girls on the altar. Girls should not be laying hands on guys. And of course, they like to say, well, that's my cousin, my nephew, my boo-boo, my auntie, whoever the case may be. I'm not going to try to sort all that out in the altar. And so it doesn't matter what they say. They don't need to be praying with guys and guys praying with girls and girls praying with guys. Obviously, we give some leeway to the staff. That's a little bit different. But even as staff, I would caution you to be wise and to understand that because we do have to maintain a certain standard, and because we do have to be mindful of all the churches in the district, if you are approached and asked to modify your behavior in the altar when it comes to praying with other people, you may be well in line with your pastor. You may be in leadership at your church or in ministry at your church, and that's awesome. That's great, and we're certainly not trying to make it a holiness issue. But again, we've got to maintain a standard for the camp, so we ask that if we do have to address something with you, that you would kindly comply. So having covered that, we're going to jump back to the worker, some more details on the worker structure. We do have a clean dorm award. I'm not exactly sure what the prize is going to be, but let's keep an eye on that throughout the week. There will be a male and female camper of the year. Let's keep an eye on that throughout the week. I know typically we give them dinner at the big house. I don't know what else may be included with that this year, but we'll go over those things during the camper orientation. Additionally, those who are Bible quizzers get a fast pass. They get to be first in line for showers and for cafeteria. If they have raised $100 or more for Chiefs for Christ, they get that fast pass, and additionally they get a $10 Snack Shack credit. So that's available to them. Encourage your young people to be involved in Chiefs for Christ. Chiefs for Christ is the reason we have youth camps. So make sure you're encouraging those things in them. We have modified the camp schedule, as you're aware. We used to start on Sunday night. We are not doing that this year. We're starting on Monday. So the schedule on Monday, from noon to 1 o'clock, we are going to feed the campers. They're going to be served pizza and drinks. And then from 1 to 2, we'll have camper orientation, and that will take place in the tabernacle. From 2 to 4, they will have open recreation in the gym. There's no organized rec on Monday. We will have staff orientation from 2 to 2:30 at the very latest, but again, I'd like to back as much time off of that as I can. Although it is very important that we have a staff time of prayer. I want to make sure we do that and we give that justice. Dinner is going to be served at 4 o'clock. The serving line will be open from 4 to 4:30, and you'll find that's the case with each meal, that the serving line is open for the first 30 minutes only. And the reason for that is because the kitchen staff's got to get prepped for the next meal or cleaned up for the night or whatever the case may be. So they're breaking things down. And if we try to allow campers to walk in at the last minute and get food, that makes it very difficult on the serving staff. So we're not going to permit that. They've got to do it ahead of time. Additionally, if you are scheduled to serve, you need to be there 15 minutes prior to the start of that meal. So for instance, if you're serving dinner, you need to be there at 3:45. Now, that to me is incredibly important, and where we have the biggest issue with that is lunch, because lunch starts at noon. 11:45 you're supposed to be there, but sometimes the altar call is still going on. You're praying with somebody, those kind of things. And I understand the importance of being in the altar. I love what happens in church camp altars. Lives are still altered at apostolic altars, and I don't mean in any form or fashion to demean what takes place at the altar. But if it's 11:45 and you need to go serve and you're praying with a young person, flag down another worker and have them come pray with that young person, and you go ahead onto the cafeteria so that you can be in place. There's not a lot of things that I'm real hard about when it comes to camp, but trash guys staying on top of trash and serving schedule, staying on top of their serving schedule is very important to me. And the reason for that is because if you're not staying on top of those duties, you're negatively impacting your fellow workers as well as the campers, and we don't want to put people in that position. So please be mindful and please stay on top of that, because I do follow up on those things. Church starts at 6 o'clock and it's over when it's over. We have evening recreation from 10 to midnight on the schedule. Sometimes it ends up being a little bit later because we got out of church later. We're going to be flexible with that. The schedule for Tuesday through Thursday, you can take a look at the packet that I've sent you and make sure you review that. Let me know if you have any questions. Just some highlights from that. We will have a staff orientation, or not staff orientation, but a worker meeting every day from 9:45 a.m. to 10 o'clock to 10:10, somewhere in that ballpark in the cafeteria. Please be prompt for that. Please make an effort to be there for that. We cover important things in those meetings. Additionally, for afternoon recreation from 1 to 4, we are going to allow the ladies some time in the gym by themselves with the guys out of the gym, not permitted to be in the gym for an hour and a half. And then we'll flip it. The guys will have a chance to be in the gym while the ladies do some sort of other activity, to give the guys a chance for some gym time as well. So be mindful of that. And again, take a look at the workers, take a look at the camp schedule. If you have any questions, make sure you let us know. The Snack Shack is a privilege that we make available to you. You do have a Snack Shack credit. There's not necessarily a limit to that credit. It's just one of the few ways we can really say thank you for being at Conquerors Camp and for the sacrifice. Many of you are taking time off work. You may not even be being paid for it, so it really means a lot to me personally, and I know to the Locks and the Mehans and the Alexanders that you're coming to be a part of this camp. So we want to do this to say thank you to you. We only ask in return that you don't abuse it. We want you to use it. Please use it, but please don't abuse it. The Snack Shack credit's for you. It's not for you and campers from your church. It's not for you and a particular camper you're trying to minister to. It's for you. I've never had to address, in all my years running camps, I've never had to address Snack Shack issues, and I certainly don't anticipate having to do so this year. Just be cognizant of how much you're using that. Review the list, make sure your name's on there. If your name is not on there, I assure you it was not done intentionally. It was an oversight. If you received the email with this video link, then you absolutely were intended to be on that list. Please let me know if I left your name off. I want to make sure that you have access to that opportunity. As far as staff housing goes and where you're going to be roomed, just like the rest of the campers, when you show up, you're going to check in and get your bunk assignment. If you are not in the dorms for some reason and you're being housed somewhere else, you'll be informed of that ahead of time, and we'll let you know in plenty of time so that you can be prepared for that. Make sure you review the list of staff duties and responsibilities. Each one of you is assigned to a specific responsibility. If you have questions about those specific responsibilities, you can find the details of those duties toward the back end of your worker packet. I really encourage you to review those, even if you've worked camp 1,000 times. Review it anyway, just to get a refresher on it and make sure that you're prepared to be on top of things. We do have Sister Tamara Johnson again coming as our ladies dorm director. She has a wealth of experience. She's worked with Sister Diane Gainey for many years in the dorms, and so I really am going to lean on her wisdom, particularly with issues that arise with the ladies. I'm not really sure in the past how disciplinary issues have been addressed with the ladies. I'm not really sure how they go about that, and so I'm gonna acquiesce to Sister Johnson for those things. I ask you that if you've never worked a camp before, or it's been a while since you've worked a camp, please, 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 again, lean on their wisdom. Sometimes when we're brand new workers, I find that they see a need to prove themselves, or they want to exercise the authority that they have, and we're not there to be the Gestapos of the youth camp. Again, we need to be erring on the side of mercy. So before you issue any kind of discipline, make sure you talk to Sister Johnson about that and run it by her. On the guys' side, we've got Brother Kevin Garfinkel is going to be working in the upstairs. Brother David Gomes is going to be kind of the head dorm supervisor for the guys, and he's going to be looking over things downstairs. And so worker staff, make sure you're working closely with them. Chain of command is very important. So here's the way chain of command works. First of all, if you are ages 18 to 20 and you're coming as a worker, under no circumstance are you ever permitted to issue discipline to a camper. If you do so, you put us in a huge insurance risk, and it's a big liability issue, and we run the risk of being sued as a campground. So please do not issue any discipline. If there's something that is endangering the life of a camper, certainly you can jump in and assist in that situation, but do not issue any discipline. Leave that up to the 21 and over staff. If you're 21 and over staff, in the ladies' dorm, there's an issue that arises you can't handle, it goes to Sister Johnson first. The guys' side, upstairs, it goes to brother. If you're a guy worker upstairs, it goes to Brother Kevin Garfinkel. If you're a guy worker downstairs, it goes to Brother David Gomes. Kevin, if he's got an issue that he's not quite sure how he wants to handle it, him and David, I've asked them to be kind of a two-headed monster, so they're going to head it up. They're going to huddle up and see if they can come to a consensus on how that issue is to be addressed, and we'll go from there. If there is a need to escalate an issue, Brother Gomes and Brother Kevin on the guy's side, Sister Tamara Johnson on the girl's side, will bring it to myself or Brother Joel Alexander. Those three are the only ones that should be bringing disciplinary issues to myself or to Brother Alexander. If me or Brother Alexander has an issue that we feel like we need additional guidance on, we will take it to the youth president. So no one should be directly contacting the youth president about disciplinary issues outside of me and Brother Alexander. If you and Brother Williams are besties, you text each other all weekend, forget his number for that week. The only one that should ever contact Brother Williams is Brother Locke, if he sees the need to gain his wisdom or insight into a situation. So again, dorm workers, issues go to the dorm leaders. Dorm leaders, if you have an issue, you bring it to myself or Brother Joel Alexander. If we need to, we'll take it to Brother Locke. If Brother Locke needs to, he'll address it with Brother Williams. Please follow that. The last thing in the world I need is Brother Locke coming to me and asking me about an issue, and I have no idea. I have no idea what occurred, what took place, and yes, I've been in that spot before, and it is not a comfortable spot to be in. So please be aware of that. Camp serving schedule, please review that. I'm doing something a little differently this year. Instead of switching you around to different serving schedules for different days, I'm assigning everyone to a particular meal. So if you serve lunch, you're serving lunch every day. If you serve dinner, you're serving dinner every day. If you serve breakfast, you're serving breakfast every day. And so that way it eliminates some of the, well, is it my shift? Am I supposed to be the one? That eliminates all that, right up front. Every time it's lunch, I'm on. So please review that. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to bring that to me and let me know. Again, look over the job descriptions, the phone numbers. If you have not done so, please review your phone number and make sure it is correct. If it's not correct, I need to know. And the reason for that is I make small business card size documents that has everybody's phone number on it to pass out to the camp staff, so you're not having to program a bunch of numbers into your phone or carry around a big bulky packet. You've got it all right there, business card size, and you can get a hold of anybody you need to. So please make sure you're double checking that and that your number's right. Just a couple other things I want to hit. First of all, please make sure for our Thursday night duties, Friday morning duties, closing out camp, please make sure you're doing a thorough job and that you're doing it to the best of your ability, understanding that everything we do to the glory of God. I have a couple of times been stuck at the campgrounds 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, vacuuming dorms, cleaning up things in the tabernacle that didn't get taken care of, going back over stuff in the kitchen. I'd really not like to be put in that position. It's not that it's the end of the world. I've done it before. I don't mind. I know that's what I signed up for. But I'd really like not to be put in that position. Please make sure you're doing a thorough job with whatever you're assigned. If we have issues with work or staff, it's normally one of two things. First of all, and this is primarily the guys, but horsing around or pranking, those are, I like to have fun. I like to horse around. I like to prank. I've done all those things before. We just got to be wise. If you're doing those things with campers around, they're going to do it too, and they're probably not going to exercise wisdom. And so those things can spiral out of control very quickly. If you want to horse around with each other and have a good time, just please use wisdom. Don't do it with the campers around. Don't do it in such a way that it damages property or upsets people or hurts feelings. Let's be wise in how we horse around and how we have a good time. And just because you've known somebody for a couple days and they seem to have a neat personality doesn't mean you know everything about them and doesn't mean you know what will and will not offend them. So just be wise. The other thing is the off-site trips, and these tend to get out of hand really quickly. I understand that the need may arise for you to make a CVS run or go to Walmart or whatever the case may be, and you are grown adults, and we want to treat you like grown adults. I'm not trying to babysit anybody, but we got to understand that when you're not on site, other people are having to pick up where you left off. And then what's even worse is if you're off site and I don't know, and I need you and I can't find you and I can't get a hold of you and there's things going on that we need you present for. So if there's an emergency that arises and there's a situation where you need to leave the grounds, it has to be communicated with either myself or Brother Alexander. We need to know why you're leaving, where you're going, and who's going with you, if anyone. Please be aware of that. I know I said to bring a Nerf gun, and we are going to have a great time with that. We're going to have a Nerf war. We're going to play volleyball late at night, play basketball late at night, all that, and that's good. And we need to do those things. We need to fellowship. That's important. Buy your Nerf gun before you come to camp. I don't need 20 workers leaving in the middle of the afternoon to go get a Nerf gun. So please make sure you've purchased your Nerf gun before you come to camp. If the reason you're leaving the grounds is to go get a Nerf gun, I'm probably going to ask you not to do that. And again, it's not to be unkind. It's not to treat you like a child. It's just we got to understand that first of all, we're primarily there for the students, and if we're not on site, we're not helping the students. And then secondly, if you're not there, somebody else is having to pick up the slack for whatever you were responsible for. When it comes to discipline, again, ladies, I'll acquiesce to Sister Johnson. Guys, if anybody gets out of hand with the discipline, again, it's typically the guys. I am not into making kids run. You don't know what health conditions they could have. It'd be very dangerous. Plus, you make them run and it stimulates them, and now you have even more difficulty getting them in bed. Please exercise wisdom in how you discipline. We are not running a concentration camp. It's a youth camp. Please don't get carried away. If you cannot get through to the guys with a reasonable amount of discipline, like having them help clean the restrooms or having them walk the property and pick up trash or things like that, if you still can't get through to them after those types of disciplinary actions, then it's time to involve myself or Brother Joel Alexander, and we'll personally take it to the next level, whatever that needs to be. Also, and I do it too. It's all of us. We enjoy hanging out with each other, and we should. But sometimes in hanging out with each other and spending time together, fellowshipping as a staff, we forget that we're also supposed to be monitoring the campers. Please make sure that in the evenings we are doing nightly supervision. We are watching out to make sure campers aren't going behind the gym, campers aren't going behind the tabernacle, campers aren't wandering off into the dark. I think we all understand the danger of young people wandering off in the dark, particularly at this age group. So please be cognizant of that. If we need to, we can even establish maybe a rotating schedule of who is specifically responsible for that oversight. I'd really like not to have to do that. I'd really like everyone to just take personal ownership and say, we'll keep an eye on things. But please, that'll be very, very important and very critical to the success of the camp, to make sure that we're taking care of those duties. And finally, let me just say that in all the duties and all the work that we do and all the fellowship we do with each other, again, we are primarily there for the campers. And we will have opportunities this week to sow into their lives. I could list for you names of students that are working camps now, students whose names you would recognize, who are just shining gems of our movement, that we are excited about the future because of these young people. And some of those same students, and this isn't about me, other workers can say the same thing. Some of the same students I remember being in the dorm room with, and they were hurt and they were frustrated, and there was decisions being made about if they were really going to live this or not. And I believe that I wasn't the only one. Certainly their pastor, their youth pastor, other people in their lives, but I believe I was placed by God into their lives specifically to help them and have an opportunity to minister to them and strengthen them and solidify them. And you'll have those opportunities too. So in everything that goes on in camp, let's not neglect those 5-minute conversations with a student that can change their lives. Let's not neglect the student who's sitting by themselves in the cafeteria and doesn't seem to be connecting with anybody. Let's not neglect the young lady who seems to have a chip on her shoulder and no one really wants to be around her. She's got a bad attitude, kind of negative. Let's not neglect those young people. Let's reach to them with a heart of love, with the heart of Christ, and let's be everything that we can for them. Let's do our best to make a difference in the lives of young people this week. Again, thank you so much, first of all, for reviewing this video. Second of all, for being a part of Conquerors Camp 2015. I'd love for you to shoot me an email. Let me know that you have reviewed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. We'll certainly follow up with that. Otherwise, God bless, and look forward to seeing you soon at camp.